Welcome back to the channel. I'll take a moment here to say hello to those of you who are new subscribers. I've had a few of those recently. As usual, I'm going to do 2 readings this evening. They're both going to be a 5-card spread. I don't have much to share as far as an update's concerned. For the most part, today has been fairly routine. I did have further work I had to do on that project that I had mentioned before. Sorry about that. I'm not sure if YouTube will paste these 2 videos together or not. I had some technical difficulties. But as I was saying, welcome back to the channel, and I'll take a moment here to say hello to those of you who are new subscribers. As I was saying before, the project that I've been working on recently, I've made quite a bit of progress on that over the past couple of days. So I would say I'm 75% done with that project. There's still a whole lot of work left to do, so I'm not going to put that on a timeline and say when it will be finished. But yeah, eventually I hope to do a video, sort of an overview of what the project was and what the process was, and the outcome. So there again, that's something that I will post at some point in the future. As I had mentioned in some previous videos, the weather has turned rather cold here over the past few days. So much so that I ended up having to build a fire tonight. I heat my home with wood, with a wood stove, and so there's a little bit of work and involved process in that. But yeah, that's about all of an update that I'm going to go into. Let me take a moment here to ground my energies, and then we will begin the readings. Take a moment here to say hello to the cards. Take a moment to connect my energies to the cards and connect this first reading with Laura. Okay. Card's not quite ready yet. Card that has come up a little bit lately. Okay. Alright, your status card here is the Lady of Joy. And it is reversed. I'll turn it up so that you can see it. The intuitive messages that are coming through with this card speak to some degree, sort of feeling surrounded, but not necessarily in a restrictive way. This is more like subdued. The message coming through here is complicated. The reverse aspect of this card here is important, and while it's not exactly saying, like, you know, the opposite of joy being misery, it is speaking to sadness to a degree. Also, there's a feeling of stagnation, of being sort of stuck in one place, a lack of freedom and a lack of creativity, possibly to some degree a lack of inspiration, but more so than anything I get this impression of a feeling of being restrained. Not necessarily a bad status card. As I always say with the status card, it's just, you know, here's the situation at the moment. So they're not necessarily a bad card. Another card that's come up recently. Wow. Okay. Alright, your challenge card here is Tink. The intuitive message that's coming through it so often comes through with this card, and it's coming through now. This card is speaking to stubbornness. The challenge here is that you set your will or your mind to something and you're clutching it, you're holding on to it desperately. Whatever it is not serving you. And so therein, that's the challenge. This speaks to youth to a degree. Therein, there is sort of this childish, sort of stubborn view, but also this is whatever this thing is, it's from the past. Holding on to something from the past very stubbornly, you know, sort of being resolute, putting your foot down and saying, I'm not going to bend, I'm not going to give, I'm not going to let go. And the challenge here is that that's causing darkness. Also, I'm getting this other message coming through with this card, that this decision, this grasping, is sort of interfering with the natural progress of a life path development thing, you know, like a life quest. As I said, there's a lot of complicated messages coming through with this card, but the bulk of it is stubbornness and holding on to something. quite ready yet. Okay. Wow. Okay. Alright, your tool or resolution card here is the Queen of the Golden Bough. The intuitive message coming through very strongly with this card speaks to the need for self-care. In a sense, it is saying, to a degree, treat yourself like royalty. Also, there again, it harkens back to the challenge and the difficulties that have come up so far in this reading, and it's speaking to being willing to look out for yourself. And a part of looking out for yourself is letting go of things that don't, serve you or bring you peace or happiness or joy. This is very much a self-centered card, but not in a negative way. This is the healthy, I'm going to focus on myself and do what I need to do to bring happiness into my life. I'm also getting part of a message coming through now here with this card, and it's suggesting that you've heard these voices and these suggestions before. There are other figures in this card surrounding the central figure, and I'm getting this impression that they've been talking, that they've been trying to lend sage advice and wisdom. So there again, this card is speaking to being open to the advice that other people give you, because that advice in this particular instance with this tool card will help you to further take care of yourself and do what you need to do for you in your life. So yeah, very you-centered approach here with this tool card. Okay, card's not ready yet. Card's still not ready. Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. This is there are further complicated messages coming through with this card. It's coming through very fast, and it's layered. Let me go ahead and show you the card. Your outcome card here is the Hope, and it is reversed. Now let me be very clear here. The reversed aspect of this card is important, but it's not saying that there is no hope. What this card, the message that's coming through with this card, what it's saying speaks very clearly back to this Tink card and saying, whatever this is that you're holding on to desperately, this outcome card is suggesting that, you know, perhaps that's a hope that may be, you know, set aside. There's a part of you that is hoping, you know, some miracle, some magic, some power will occur, some good things, a blessing, you know, that will maintain that grasp and turn things, you know, into paradise, to shift them the way you want them to be. And this card is saying, don't focus on that hope, because it takes your attention away from the self. As I said, there's complex messages coming through with this card. I'm also drawn to this figure that's flying off to the side, and this is speaking to the fact that you've been getting messages from your higher self, from a higher being, a higher source, however you want to word that, or put that into a box. You've been getting messages, you know, in a sense encouraging you on this path for a while now, but you've been, there again with this challenge card, you've been stubborn and chosen not to listen to those messages. And this card is saying those messages are still coming, and they're going to continue, because this whole reading is a very sort of a higher, like, life path reading. A lot of energy coming through these cards. Okay. Okay, card's not quite ready yet. Okay. Wow. Okay. Your personal card here is the Lady of Unicorns. As I always say with these personal cards, take time and look closely and carefully at the image. There will be something in the image that speaks directly to you, and it may not be the specific message that comes to me from the card. The message that came through this card to me spoke very directly of purity and clarity. And there again, it is all focused on the self. Self needs, self wants. Sort of a self-directed singular path. The word singular is coming through very loudly here. This is all, there again, it's all about the self in one sort of direct route. I do get a very strong sense of sort of love and light. There's a harmony in this card, and as I said, it's speaking to moving forward on that sort of destiny path, walking your own path, and making that a priority. Also, I do get a strong sense of community with this card, and I think part of the message that's coming through here with this card is saying you will have community with you, supporting you, you know, in this decision or this process, whatever it may be. There are going to be people there celebrating you taking care of yourself. And that harkens back to the community and the voices that you had here in your tool card. So all in all, I think a very positive and powerful personal card here. I'll show the card yet again. As I said, you know, take a moment and look closely at it and find the message that's there that will speak directly to you. Here again, if you have trouble seeing the image, certainly let me know via a message and I will send you a clearer image of the card. All in all, though, I think this is a fairly positive reading. As I said, it is not so much, you know, a set period of time this is very much speaking to a larger life quest kind of passage and journey. So very powerful. And I think there again, were you to choose to use, you know, the tool card and the wisdom and the messages that were given there via the reading, I think that you will find goodness and some serenity. As I always say, if you have further questions or concerns about your reading, certainly send me a message and let me know. I have no problem looking further into things. So let me take a moment, put these cards back in the deck, and allow the deck to dissipate some of that energy. Okay. Let the deck sit there for a moment and allow some more of that energy to dissipate. Let me further connect my energies here with the deck and connect this reading with Mel. Okay. Okay. haven't seen in a while. Okay. Alright. Your status card here is the Magician. It is reversed. I'll turn it up so that you can see it. The intuitive message that came through with this card very loudly when I turned it over was a sense to some degree of chaos. Not necessarily in a bad way, but it is the notion of having a deck of playing cards and them flying everywhere. It's sort of a feeling of a lot of loose ends, not being fully in control for whatever reason, you know. Sort of a feeling of being, you know, there again, being out of control, being at the whim of the wind blowing, you know, being a leaf in the wind to some degree. So therein there is it's speaking to a lack of control, a lack of center, a lack of balance. Not necessarily a bad status card. As I always say about these status cards, it's simply, you know, what is for the moment. Card we haven't seen in a while. Okay. Alright. So your challenge card here is the Captive Man. There are some complex messages coming through with this card. To some degree it does speak to the name of the card in the sense of feeling, you know, captive, feeling sort of cornered and boxed in. That message is coming through here with the card. At the same time, it harkens back to this status card in a sense, because it's feeling surrounded by powerful forces and almost to a degree being controlled by them. And part of this challenge card is speaking to that. There are outside forces, people, you know, friends possibly, or family, and there's sort of an impeding, you know, going on there. Like it's an overbearing sort of, I'm going to put you in this position, and possibly via a feeling of responsibility or something, you're going to be boxed in. You know, you're going to be doing these things. Yeah, there is a very confining, closed-in feeling and energy coming through with this card, and a strong presence of other people involved in this card here. So definitely that is a challenge. Okay. 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 Yet another complicated message coming through with this tool card. Your tool card here is the Prince of Shadows. As I said, it is a complicated group of messages coming through with this card. First and foremost, though, to some degree, this card is speaking to your own ability for discernment and subtlety. It's talking about not giving out information to those outside sources, because to some degree that information is being used as ammunition or leverage against you. Very much I do get that impression of subtlety. Also, however, there is a message coming through with this card that is saying, don't be afraid to walk, with your own shadow. In a sense, you may feel compelled that there's going to be some darkness if you pull away from these forces that are sort of boxing you in. But the Prince of Shadows has his own form of enlightenment. He is enlightened in his own way, and he's capable of traversing shadow, in the blink of an eye. So this card is speaking to that. Rely on yourself, on your own intuition, your own inner light, and don't fear the shadows that may be cast by those people. This is very much a self-focused card. Here again, that message is still coming through very strong and loud in the sense of practicing subtlety and keeping things to yourself that other people may take advantage of were they to know or have that knowledge or information. So card's not quite ready yet. Okay. I believe that we've seen this card before. Okay. Alright, your outcome card here is the rocks. And it is reversed. Turn it up so that you can see it. The intuitive message that's coming through with this card is talking about the fact that the reverse nature of this card here is very important. To some degree, this card is speaking to the notion of being dethroned, which there again is a casting off of that responsibility that's being placed on you, and that is causing, all this conflict and sort of constriction and chaos there. This figure here in this card is isolated and alone. Although he wears a crown and he has a scepter, he's all alone, and it's like the weight of the world is on his shoulders, that burden of responsibility of being the king. And this card, as far as an outcome card here, is talking about setting that aside, laying down the scepter, taking off the crown, giving up that title, because it wasn't one that you chose. You didn't go in saying, oh yeah, I want to be in charge, I want to be the king. But it was sort of thrust upon you, and then you were left, basically alone to do all of these things and to be this person that everyone else wanted you to be. And this outcome card here is very freeing. It's saying you make your own path and your own destiny. So very powerful as far as an outcome card, and very positive. I get that feeling coming through with the message. So yeah, very good outcome card. Now let's. Okay. Wow. Very fitting for this reading. Okay. So your personal card here is the Queen of Shadows. And it is reversed. I'll turn it up so that you can see it. As I always say, take a moment to look closely at this card. There will be a message in it that speaks directly to you, and it may not be the message that comes through for me. There was a very loud message that came through with this card when I turned it over, and this message is talking about sort of a revelation. It's talking about you being able to identify one key source here in this group that's circling you, that has thrust a lot of this responsibility on you. So yeah, this is speaking to bringing light, illuminating this Queen of Shadows, because this person whether they mean to or not, to some degree is causing you harm or trauma or, distress. And so this card is speaking directly to that fact that they will be illuminated, you will see them and be able to deal with them, however you choose as far as that goes. Yeah, I very much get a feeling of unmasking, no more illusions. So therein, a very positive personal card here for the end of this reading. I'll show you the image once again. As I said, look closely at the image and find the message that is there for you. So yeah, all in all, I think a very positive reading. Particularly I like this personal card and this outcome here. Yeah, as I usually say, if you have any further questions or concerns about your reading, certainly send me a message and let me know. I do have some other work that I have to do this evening, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this short. As I normally say, I hope all of you are well. I send you love and light, compassion and harmony, and goodwill and good fortune. If all goes well, I will speak with you soon.